COVID-19 recovery, helping Hoosiers recover financially, physically, mentally, and socially through services provided by Community Action of Greater Indianapolis. Services include energy assistance, child care, family support, education, training programs, transitional housing, and food assistance. COVID-19 recovery.
Hello, I'm Terrence White of Community Action of Greater Indianapolis.
And I'm Kelly Vaughn of WHMB TV 40. Welcome to COVID-19 recovery. All things recovery here on this show, right?
That's right. That's the name of it. That's the title.
That's right. Yeah. So, when I think about recovery, I think about the people who've been impacted by COVID-19. You went through it. And how long was your battle?
It lasted, I was under maybe 2 to 3 weeks.
But it was pretty rough.
And it was rough, but compared to some people I know, it's more so in the mild category. Nothing to sneeze at though.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Do you know anyone who has battled this?
I know of 2 people who have passed away. And then I know of a gentleman that we're actually going to be talking to later in the show. It's Rodney Stepp. He's from Indianapolis, but he's world-renowned with his music and very talented. And I think he was under for like 42 days.
Wow.
And went on a ventilator, was hospitalized, survived, and is recovering. Currently, yes, yeah, amen, and doing just well, very well. But I think what's so interesting about his story is the fact that it even captured the attention of the 700 Club. They featured him on the show for him to tell his story, and he talks about what he went through. And what we're going to talk about later in the show is how he is recovering, how he continues to recover, and encouraging people who are watching that if you've been through it, or if there are people still coming down with these different variants. And that's the thing, we think it's over.
Right. No, it's far from over. It's far from over.
Now, you've had your vaccination.
I have. I've had both shots. I took the Pfizer vaccination, and minimal side effects.
Okay, yeah.
So it's very important that we communicate that message of get that vaccine. It's not only for yourself, but for your families, for people that you come in contact with. Right, yeah. Very important.
And the way to get that shot, you can register by calling 211 or ourshot.in.gov.
Yes. I
believe it is. Okay, and you can go on that particular site, see what they have to offer, the various locations, who's offering the shot. And I guess now the Johnson & Johnson one now is on pause, is what the CDC says, because of some issues with blood clots, which is kind of scary. But a lot of people have had it and did very well. One of my best friends, Teal Rivers Williams, had the Johnson & Johnson. And so when I heard the story, it's been a couple of weeks, and obviously she's come through it, but that's just really scary. But I suspect they're going to resume in some way, shape, or form. They maybe have to find more about that particular person and their risk factors before giving them that particular vaccine.
Right.
But again, we want you to meet Rodney Stepp, and the 700 Club did a fabulous, fantastic story on his journey through COVID-19, and we want to share that with you before we meet him. So watch.
He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
April 6, 2020. Hundreds gather at a prayer vigil for a man fighting for his life. Award-winning musician and producer, Rodney Stepp. Best known as keyboardist for the iconic R&B group, The Spinners. His 60-plus year career has earned him respect throughout the music industry, with little slowing him down. Until now. In late March, while coming back from a gig, Rodney began feeling ill.
I was a little worried about him, but I knew that he was tired, so I just let him sleep. But Monday was different. He had been sick for about a week with a very nasty cough. Then he ended up getting fever.
That Monday, Sheena took her husband to IU Health North Hospital. There, Rodney tested positive for COVID-19 and was admitted for care.
I was hearing that people were getting put on the ventilator and they were dying. And I walked out the door, I broke down.
With strict visitor limitations in place, Sheena relied on text messages from the staff to get the latest on her husband. One person who provided constant updates was their friend and big fan of Rodney's music, Dr. Denise Kumbelik.
I put my hand on him. He was burning with fever. By that time, he was intubated, but he could hear me, and he would squeeze my hand, and I could talk to him.
Rodney's health declined quickly, and by Friday that week, he was in the ICU in a medically induced coma. His lungs were operating at only 25%.
It was devastating. Rodney is and has been the love of my life for a little over 21 years. What am I going to do without him?
Family, friends, and fans around the world offered up prayers. Over the next week, Rodney suffered renal failure, a clotting issue, and developed a GI bleed that required a blood transfusion.
He really had every complication that you can imagine, and shared that with the group, that I was really concerned that he was not going to survive.
I recorded a prayer for him, and I asked God to just continue to touch him from his head to his toes and let him know that he needed to fight, that he was loved, and everyone was praying for him.
Sheena sent the prayer to Dr. Kumbelik, who played it back for Rodney. It was then she got an idea.
One of the doctors told Denise, don't give up on him just yet. So if you're going to do anything, you need to do it now.
Though unsure if it would make the difference, Dr. Kumbelik was willing to give prayer a chance.
I think I said, I don't believe in miracles, but if you want to show me one, I'm here. I'll accept a miracle on this.
On the evening of April 6th, the vigil began with prayer and singing.
God is in this place. One more time, y'all, everybody.
Nurses from all over the hospital came down and came out to the prayer vigil, and people placed the flags, wrote a prayer. The cars completely wrapped around the hospital, and then there was a line that couldn't get into the parking lot.
I believed that God was going to answer my prayer because I never felt in my heart that I was going to lose him. Having friends and family send you scriptures and praying for you and with you, there was just no way.
From that day forward, Rodney's lungs started to improve, and doctors began weaning him off the ventilator.
His lungs were getting better. The fluid was dissipating. But it did not stop any of us from praying. And I always ask God, thank you for everything that you have given me, and thank you for everything that you have taken away.
On April 12th, Easter Sunday, Rodney was brought out of his coma, taken off the ventilator, and breathing fully on his own.
When I first woke up, I was very weak, and I knew it was going to be a struggle. But that was still motivation for me to try to go home. I wanted to go home.
Talking to Rodney for the first time when he got off the ventilator, I did start crying. 3 things he said. I love you. He asked me if I was okay and if the dog was okay.
My last test, I had to walk the entire 5th floor. I was on the 5th floor, and I walked that 5th floor, and man, I had them trying to keep up with me.
After 30 days in the hospital, Rodney was wheeled out to cheers from his friends, family, and medical staff. Dubbed the miracle patient, Rodney spent the next 10 days in rehab before finally going home.
Would get off of each elevator on each floor, and there would just be lines of people clapping and cheering and wishing me well.
Though Rodney's body and kidneys are weaker, he's focusing on the most important thing, that he's alive. He's even using his experience with COVID as the inspiration for a gospel EP titled C19.
The only thing he did not do was die. He's our miracle. You know, we declared a miracle.
I know I wouldn't be here without the power of prayer. God was listening, and the power of prayer is just, it's so powerful.
Stay close to God. Pray, he hears, and he will come through.
Wow, Kelly, that is so powerful.
Man, what a fascinating story and a journey, and to survived what he went through and those scary moments. But I believe that prayer vigil, the caravan that came through, had a big impact on that, and it made me believe that, you know, prayer does make a difference. And so we're really proud of him for what he's been through and what he's about to do. And he does. He's in a band, and of course he creates commercials, and he does it all. So we're going to actually meet him face-to-face, one-on-one here in a moment. But before we do, we want to remind people, get the vaccine. And again, you can go call 211 or go to ourshot.in.gov. And let folks know very quickly about Community Action of Greater Indianapolis, which is behind this show, help that's available for them.
During the COVID-19 emergency, community action agencies are open and here to ensure the well-being of families across the country. For over 50 years, we've been delivering life-changing services, solutions, and stability.
Contact your local community action agency serving Boone, Hamilton, Hendricks, and Marion counties for help during the COVID-19 emergency. We can assist with masks, hand sanitizers, food, shelter, transportation, and more. Apply today.
COVID-19 has changed how we show up and show out with our family. Now it's time to take the first step that lets us get back to talking smack with a side of mac and cheese.
Before we can safely come together, we need the facts.
As COVID-19 vaccines become available, you may have questions.
Should I get it?
Is it safe?
Should I wait?
It's smart to question. Now, get the facts at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you.
And we're back here on COVID-19 recovery. And as you saw, an amazing story about Rodney Stepp, a musician who's world-renowned, who's from Indianapolis, Indiana. And we have him here with us via Zoom in the studio, so to speak. Hi, Rodney.
Hi, Rodney. There, Kelly. How are you? How are both of you today?
I'm fine. Nice to see you. You look amazing.
Well, with what I've been through, I thank you for that.
Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah, and he has been, I don't know if you know a lot about his story. And let me tell folks again, we saw the video that preceded the interview, but he has worked with performers ranging from Babyface, The Spinners, Wayman Tisdale, Mary Wilson, and Michael Jackson. I mean, okay? That's it. It's over, okay? and so he is a treasure, a musical treasure in our city. But take us back. You were hit with COVID-19 when? And take us a little bit through your journey.
Okay, March 23rd is when I was actually taken to the hospital. By the March 26th, I was being intubated. I was on a ventilator. I was on the ventilator for 14 days. I'd even got down to a point where I was only breathing about 10% on my own, and they called in the chaplain to read me my rights. And I didn't know it, of course, but they actually did that, I understand, twice. And, you know, and then after, on Easter Sunday, of all days, I woke up, and after 14 days, and then the journey began from there, the comeback, the recovery portion, and we're still going through it. I mean, it's not over yet.
Wow, wow. When you were in the hospital and you're on a ventilator, do you remember anything? And what do you have any recollection of even when you went under, what that feels like?
You know, there are stories that the nurses and the doctors told me, and even my wife had told me some stories. I don't remember anything. And I have a fog for 3 weeks of that period of my life. There's 3 weeks totally gone. I remember going to the hospital. I remember them telling me that they were going to admit me because I had COVID. And I remember them telling me after, maybe 6 or 7 hours of being in ER that they finally had a room for me, because it took forever to get me a room. After that, pretty much everything from that time period up until maybe a week or so after I woke up is a fog. It's clearly just missing.
Wow.
That time period.
So when you went into the hospital, did you understand it? Because you're talking, he said March, right? Yeah.
Right.
It was pretty new then. I mean, did you even know what you were going in there for? Did you understand that this was a virus?
I had no idea. All I knew was from what my boss told me at work at IU Health North. One day she said that I was saying that things didn't taste right to me, and because at work I used to drink a lot of smoothies, and I had these favorite potato chips that I used to eat.
Uh-oh.
And I told her, I said, these they just don't taste good. And the next thing I knew, a friend of mine's mother passed. And, me being a musician, Stacy McCracken and I were asked to do his mom's funeral, but it was in Louisville, Kentucky. I drove, Stacy was with me. I was feeling bad going to Louisville, and this was on the 21st of March. But I went ahead, I drove to Louisville, I did the funeral. We got back home, and thank God, Stacy was with me that whole time in the car, going to Louisville, driving back, there at the funeral, everything. Thank God she did not get it. It's amazing. I even called my doctor on the way to Louisville. He tried to get me to turn around then and go to emergency. And I said, man, I can't. I've got to do, it's last minute. I've got to go ahead and do this funeral. And when I got back home, my wife says that I was pretty unresponsive. I went to bed, and Saturday and evening and Sunday I slept all day. And she finally threatened me enough and called a lot of my friends who, they threatened the blood of Jesus and everything else on me, But they told me they'd beat me with baseball bats if I didn't get up and go to the hospital. And I finally went that Monday morning, and thank God I did. I probably wouldn't have survived had I stayed home.
Wow.
It was that bad.
Wow.
It was that bad.
So
I had no idea it was COVID. I just thought I was, feeling bad, just flu symptoms or whatever.
So how has this experience affected you mentally or emotionally and your family?
Honestly, it's really made me stronger. It's given me, my faith was always there, but now my faith is even stronger because I was basically gone. I was basically at rest. I was at peace and was almost out of here not knowing it. I really, now my family, I think it's really taken a toll on them. They worry, the stress, especially since, it took out my kidneys, and it could have taken out more organs, but fortunately, it was only my kidneys, and I'm dealing with it. It's nothing. No, I don't like it, but I'm here. So, as a matter of fact, just today, I just talked to the transplant office over at IU, and I'm going for my testing on May the 19th. So I'll be there all day for, to be able to get on the transplant list. So, hey, I really do. I thank God for bringing me through, and I hope I can be a blessing to others to encourage them to get the shot, to do the right things, stop fussing about not being able to go places or wearing masks, wash your hands, sanitize, do all the things. These things may just keep you alive. And I think I'm a walking, living witness and testimony.
Wow. And you have an amazing testimony. And you had mentioned off the air about was there a prayer vigil or people that were praying for you, like in mass?
And of course, Kelly, I didn't know anything about it. I was asleep. But from what I understand, the story and how the story was told to me was that Sunday night, the doctor, one of the doctors, the ER doctor, Dr. Kimbelli, she's a good friend of the families. And about 10 o'clock that night, they started texting and emailing, and they say that, you know, I was about going home. And they said one of the doctors up there had told her, I don't know what you believe in, but whatever it is, you need to do it now. So I understand they started texting, and they got a hold of Stacy and a couple of other people, and the texts and Facebook messages and Instagrams and everything started going out at 10 o'clock Sunday night. They actually put together a prayer vigil and had it at 6 o'clock that Monday evening in front of the hospital. As you may have seen in some of the videos, they had to end up with a police escort. They had that many cars. They said there were over close to 200 people. Wow. There were over 150 vehicles. People were coming out of the hospital. What's going on? You know, they brought flags, cards. They put them in the garden area. And where my room was right outside. I was in ICU. So they drew a halo type circle around the window upstairs in the room. And the staff was all in the window so people would know where to look up to. And they were singing, praying, doing scripture, and all of those people were out there. I didn't find out about any of that until because again, they were very cautious of what they were telling me even when I came out of the coma. And it was approximately about a month that I even knew about it, and I couldn't watch it. They told me, you know, it was on YouTube and this and that. And for a long time, I couldn't even watch it because I started watching a couple of minutes of it and tears just start flowing down my eyes because they didn't know if I was going to walk again. They didn't know if I was going to talk again. They didn't know if I was going to be brain dead and damaged, you know, from being intubated. There were so many things. And I'm telling you, when I say I have a walking miracle, and God brought me through.
When people are in that state, do you have any revelations of like you saw God, or you saw that you were coming back, or any revelations like that?
Okay, now, again, I can't prove it or anything, so to speak, but I'm just going to tell you subliminally how I felt in the back of my mind. When I felt as if when I woke up, I was telling a story that I felt like I had both arms stretched, one stretched this way and one this way. And I saw a light. I saw a beam of light. And this is of course, I'm probably asleep, but I felt as if God was giving me a choice to come and live eternally, everlasting life, or to go back. And I felt like I was actually given a choice, and I chose to go back. And that's just the way I felt. That's just the way that was in my mind subliminally. I don't know if that's really true or not, but that's honestly, that's the story that was put into my head, and I believe it. I believe I really had a choice.
Right. All right. Well, we're glad that you chose to come back so we can have this interview. If nothing else, though, eternal life with God is, you know, that's kind of hard to pass up to. But we got time for that too. So we're almost out of time. And man, you have an incredible story. What would you like to say to viewers out there in terms of encouraging them on our road to recovery as a city, as a state, as a nation?
First of all, everybody, we need to come together. We really do. We need to stop all of this backbiting and everything. That's the first thing. Second thing, we have to believe. Whatever it is you believe in it and do it. Get the shot, take care of yourself, take care of your family. This is very important. As you know, I've done a couple of PSAs. We came up with Vaccination Nation and Take the Shot. I'm trying to encourage people, do the right thing. And that's really what it's all about. It really is.
Okay, and we'll share at least one of those public service announcements that you all created with our audience. And if folks want to contact you because, hey, you're a performer and we're trying to get these performers back in business.
That's true. That is true. Yes, and right now I'm still doing my thing with Men in the Fire, the gospel group, and I'm also playing with the Flying Toasters, the rock group that I've been with for 17 years. But the main thing is my company. I'm getting my company back on board, Rodney Step Music Productions, for jingles, commercial, audio, visual, full production, and hey, hopefully we'll be working with you guys as well.
That's right. Oh, yeah. And Terrence, we're actually working on a project. There was a case study done by the state on COVID-19 recovery and how to move forward. And we're thinking about creating a concert about that with musical guests and then the solutions to some of those issues that we have, especially for those who are underserved in our community. So Terrence is looking at me like, you didn't tell me anything about this.
First I'm hearing about it.
All right, Terrence.
But he knows now. Rodney Stepp, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. God bless you, and you have a great day.
Same to you.
Same to you. Wow, what an extraordinary man. Wow.
Yeah. Powerful story.
Of recovery, right? So I'm encouraged. And we hope you've been encouraged by COVID-19 recovery. I'm Kelly Vaughn.
And I'm Terrence White.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
During the COVID-19 emergency, community action agencies are open and here to ensure the well-being of families across the country. For over 50 years, we've been delivering life-changing services, solutions, and stability.
Serving Boone, Hamilton, Hendricks, and Marion counties, be sure to visit our website to learn about employment and education opportunities, food, housing, transportation assistance, and more. Apply today by calling 317-396-1800.
Let's get back to brunching instead of late-night munching. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit GetVaccineAnswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you.